When investigating a traffic fatality, we need to consider all the possibilities. Was there another vehicle involved that left the scene? Or did some other factor cause this collision? Were drugs, alcohol, or medication involved? We also consider potential street design problems, street lighting, and even placement of street signs. To put it simply, there's a lot of work to be done.
Every year, HPD responds to about 120 motor vehicle collisions that are classified as major MVCs, where the property damage exceeds $3,000, and/or individuals suffer from either serious or substantial bodily injury or death. In 2014, 56 people died as a result of motor vehicle collisions. Of these, 25 were pedestrians. At all of these fatality cases, it is easy to spot as many as a dozen HPD officers doing a variety of things at the scene. But what most people don't realize is that many of these officers are actually from a specialized section called the Vehicular Homicide Section, or VHS. Their main purpose is to investigate major motor vehicle accidents. VHS usually works in teams of one sergeant and 3 officers. One officer, the investigator, is responsible for the interviews of the witnesses, victims, and other parties in the collision. 2 officers are assigned to the scene diagram and the collection of physical evidence involved. While on scene, VHS officers can often be seen with poles, which when used in conjunction with other equipment will enable them to create a scale drawing of the scene. The forensic mapping system enables the officers to take accurate measurements and specific information that may be needed, like the point of impact, the contour and layout of the roadway, skid marks, where the vehicles ended up, and other information that will enable them to make a determination of the events that occurred. Depending on the complexity of the scene, nearly 100 points may need to be measured. Even though most MVCs involve a roadway, at least one vehicle, and 1 or more points of impact, no 2 scenes are exactly alike, and some may require more work than others. A meticulous examination of the surface of the road will be done for evidence. If a pedestrian is involved, the officers will look for footwear marks on the roadway, pieces of clothing, items that the person may have been carrying, blood and tissue fragments, and other evidence. Even in a non-pedestrian MVC, these items are often checked for because sometimes the force of the collision can cause the driver or passenger to be ejected from the vehicle. The vehicle's exteriors need to be examined for transfer marks, such as paint, which may have been caused by objects or other vehicles involved, as well as crush measurements due to impact. Officers will also inspect the interior of the vehicle carefully and document whether the seatbelt, brakes, lights, and other components are working properly.
All of this has to be done at the scene right after the collision, before the evidence can be contaminated or dissipated. Environmental conditions can pose challenges, such as documenting and recovering evidence during hours of total darkness, rainstorms, or in searing heat.
A drag factor test may also be conducted on different parts of the roadway. This is done to determine the amount of friction on the road surface. The results will help investigators calculate the speed of the vehicles prior to impact.
Many times, speed is a contributing factor in the collisions we investigate. Therefore, it's very important that we independently determine speed, as sometimes drivers and witnesses will either exaggerate or forget the speed that a vehicle was traveling prior to or during the collision.
Photographs are taken of the scene and each vehicle involved. Close-ups are taken of the damages to the vehicle and any physical evidence that is found. These photographs, along with the vehicle measurements, will further substantiate the events which occurred.
We do use the helicopter for most of our accident scenes. People will notice orange circles spray painted on the roadway. And what one of our officers does is he goes up with the helicopter, takes an aerial photograph of the scene, and we do an inlay on our computer system, which enables us to do a diagram to scale of the actual scene. So the helicopter has actually helped us shorten our scene closure times considerably.
One of the most common complaints from the public when a major MVC occurs has to do with the lane and roadway closures. Sometimes only part of a street may need to be rerouted, while others may require all the lanes of the freeway be closed. but there are reasons for this.
Yeah, it's important that we do close the lanes primarily for evidence collection. If not, our crime scene can be contaminated with other cars passing, pedestrian walking through the area, can disturb evidence. So it's really important that we lock the scenes down. We know of the inconvenience and we understand that the longer that scene is closed, the further traffic is going to be backed up. Our families are affected by it. So it's something that we take seriously and we try our best, but at the same time, we want to not rush an investigation just to get the road opened unnecessarily.
No one knows if and when the next major accident will happen, but there are things you can do to help with your commute. Before getting into your car, check the Department of Transportation's traffic cameras via their webpage and cell phone app. Also, sign up for Nixle on your cell phone and get traffic notifications not only about traffic accidents, but also water main breaks, road construction, weather, and other advisories.
I know at times the traffic tie-ups and slowdowns may be a real inconvenience, but the public needs to remember that a life was lost. Many lives were dramatically altered in a split second. It's our job to determine how that life was lost. If the victim was a member of their family or a friend, I'm sure they would want the most thorough investigation possible.
We hope this gave you a better understanding of what our officers have to go through to investigate this type of case. We ask for your patience the next time there is a traffic fatality or a collision that involves a critical injury. Up next, we're going to meet a group of HPD personnel who assist in critical situations, not to catch criminals, but because they respond to a higher calling.